This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Ride. How you doing, baby? You feeling good?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Can't complain. So all recovered. No stuff lingering from the COVID and all that.
No, man. I'm doing great. I've been feeling great the whole time. I was at the beach on Sunday for Easter with the girls out there in the ocean, swimming with the girls and having a good time, man.
Yeah, ocean water is good.
Yeah.
It's always good to clear up them sinuses. All right,
Yep.
good stuff. All right, so dude, what the hell is wrong with some people? I'm booing and I'm getting DMs and tweets and texts. Oh, they were unorganized. Receivers count, same problems. I thought Cristobal was going to fix it. Some guy goes, "Why are we paying this guy $8 million?" I'm like, you morons. This is a spring game. He's not supposed to have everything straightened out. He doesn't have his. They act like he's been here for a year or two and been able to watch everybody play for a year or two and been able to filter in and out everything that he wants and doesn't want. It's like, I mean, what the hell are some people expecting out of that spring game on Saturday?
Oh, I don't know, man. I think this is why we're the experts, right? Because the reality is, I don't think people pay enough attention. I don't think they tune in every single day or read enough of what we're writing or what we're saying on the show. Because to me, I think the perspective is just always like, well, where is it? We got to see results right away. And it's like you had at least somewhere in the ballpark of 14 to 16 guys. And we've been saying this for over a month that didn't participate this spring because of injury, surgery. And these are guys that are going to be central figures for Miami this coming season. Guys that are going to be in the rotation. They're going to be playing in games. That's half your team, essentially. I mean, it's when you look at the two deep, it's, 15 to 16 guys is you play what between 35 and 40 a game, right? When you're with rotations and everything else. So, I mean, it's going to not look great. And it's also going to be very vanilla because it's a spring game. So I didn't even really, I mean, if you read my story in The Athletic, my coverage, I mean, I led with the recruiting.
Right.
To me, that was a much bigger deal in terms of what matters for the program. The fact that he's got all these 5- and 4-star kids from all over the country coming here to watch. That is the story. It's not what Tyler Van Dyke did. And whether or not his receivers caught a bunch of deep balls. The guy proved the last 6 games of the season last year. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So I think, if you're sitting there looking at a spring game, trying to make a judgment on where Mario Cristobal has the program after 5 months, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. 5 months and really no practices yet and no real games and nothing like that. And you're not really going to find out about these guys until we start getting into games. And, you even talked about it that, that offensive line isn't settled yet. I mean, it's just one of those things that it's still a work in progress. And the overreaction was so ridiculous. Did you get a lot of it too? Did you get emails?
Well, I had a lot of people who were like, it looked the same as Manny Diaz. And I said, well, I've been trying to tell you guys for a long time that you got to get better players at Miami. Like that's a given. The backups here are still the same backups that were here under Manny Diaz.
Right.
When you reach Alabama level, it's because everybody looks like a first teamer. Okay. Like everybody looks like they should be playing. And Miami hasn't been that in over 2 decades. So what should surprise you when we were already telling you there's a bunch of guys out because of injury?
Right.
They're gonna be like. So hey, listen, I try to speak to the intelligent people. The dummies who don't pay attention, that don't listen. I mean, there's only so many times I can repeat myself.
Right.
So
no, I get it. They don't understand that when George Myra's out the week of the bowl game. Well, here comes some guy named Bernard Tiger Clark, and you've never heard of him, but he's pretty damn good. He was just hiding behind the starter, and now you find out about him. It's just one of those deals. Oh, Willis McGahee, he's going, oh, no problem. We got 3 other backs that are going to replace it. Those days were a different world, but that's what Alabama lives. That's what LSU lives. That's what Ohio State lives. And Miami is not. Hell, Miami doesn't have those kind of guys as starters, which is what you were just talking about. So now you want them also to have them as backups?
Yeah.
It's just,
It's
come on, man.
comical. And there was a lot of good that I actually liked out of the spring game. I thought the first team offensive line, you had essentially 3 guys that are going to be starters for you. They didn't, they did a good job protecting Tyler Van Dyke for the most part. The first team offense scored on 4 drives, and they were, good, long, lengthy drives, which is more of what Mario wants. Mario wants more
I think it
ball
was
control.
a few of the drops. And he wasn't like perfect either, Tyler Van Dyke. He had a couple
he
off
missed a
throws.
couple guys. Yeah.
Yeah, he missed a couple guys, but dude, that's why it's a spring game. That's
Right.
kind of the idea. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, he's got the chemistry with Restrepo in the slot. When Will Mallory comes back, you're going to have even more production from tight end, where I think they're stacked. I've been saying that for a long time now. I think tight end and safety are the 2 positions that you look at and you say, okay, that's high quality football. The receivers, I get it. You probably wanted him to hook up with Jacoby George or Keyshawn Smith, but the ball was there. Keyshawn could have had that 45-yard catch on the sideline. A couple of throws to Jacoby down the field were a little bit off, but it's a spring game, and you got to give, the kids on the defensive side where there's more experience, cornerback, give them a little credit. I mean, DJ Ivey's been here forever. Okay. He's been here forever.
This is his 8th year, right? I think. Right?
Yeah. He's his 8th year. He's covering a bunch of younger guys. You have, the Isaiah Dunson kid, I think he's been a nice sort of surprise this spring. I wasn't expecting it. I mean, Manny Diaz.
By the way, wasn't DJ Ivey recruited by Coker?
Yeah, he was recruited by Coker. That's right. But the Isaiah Dunson kid had a nice pass breakup in the back of the end zone on a pass that probably would have been caught by Michael Irvin, but not Frank Ladson. But listen, it's just you don't have Michael Irvin here. Okay, you have some other guys that left Clemson. And you have some other guys that
had a guy last year that was Michael Irvin-ish in Rambo.
Right.
That guy was
gone.
Michael Irvin-ish, but he's gone.
He was Irvin-ish, but you got to replace it. Just listen, man. Talent to me is the ultimate deal here, and that's why Mario's here, because Manny Diaz was not going to recruit on a Mario Cristobal level. He just wasn't.
Well, that was the idea of that article, that something that Diaz wasn't doing, to have that audience of all those kind of kids.
Yes,
that's
Mario's got them there. I mean, there was a father, Jackson Howard. His dad played in the NFL briefly. He was a 2nd-round pick out of Stanford. He was there with his little brother on side. They were in Minnesota. Who the hell wouldn't want to be out of Minnesota and down here for the sun, right?
Yeah.
But the kid literally, I mean, I was standing outside the building when all these kids were leaving, all these recruits were leaving from having their little meetings with Miami's coaches. And the kid walked out with this huge grin. And Jackson's father says to me, he says, we've been to 40 different schools in the last year. He said, this kid's smile is like, I sell houses for a living now. He says, this is the smile you have when somebody leaves a house that they're going to buy. He says, it's the same, and so, but this kid's from Minnesota. Manny Diaz wasn't recruiting. He's the number 5 tight end in the country. He's 6'6", 250 pounds. He's a freak. And Mario Cristobal calls him in December. Is like, hey man, we need to get you here. We want you here. We need you here. Kid, he's come down here twice, and now it's like Miami's really in a shot for him. That wouldn't have happened with Manny. That's the difference with Mario Cristobal. He will recruit nationally. Manny Diaz would try. He just didn't have the cachet Mario does. I mean, Mario's done it. He's done it a long time. He knows how to recruit these kids and to convince them. So to me, I left that stadium Saturday feeling like, okay, they've got the right coach here. They've got the right coach. Whether the wins come immediately in terms of ACC championships and playoff berths, that's another story.
I just want them to win the Coastal this year.
I think they can. It's not.
You should win the Coastal this year.
It's not the SEC West, dude. It's not the SEC West.
Right. Just win it and get to the championship game. That's a step forward. And who knows? You might be able to even win. I'm not demanding you to win the ACC championship game, but the one thing I am demanding is start winning the STAM division, bro.
Yeah, I agree, and I think he will with this staff. Look. There was enough that you saw out of this offense, even with all the guys out and the fact that they weren't throwing the ball deep, where you're like, you know what, Tyler Van Dyke in a must-win game, I'm probably going to take that guy 9 out of 10 times to win.
Yeah.
he's got the goods. He's got the goods. They've got. I mean, listen, man. They had 2 scholarship running backs in the spring. Okay, one of them got knocked out. Got the wind knocked out of him. I mean, and their 2 best guys weren't even playing in that. The best recruit, the best of all of them, hasn't even gotten here yet. Trevante Citizen. He's going to be better than all of them. He hasn't even gotten here yet. Okay, so whatever, man.
Right.
People want to be pissed about the spring game. Be pissed.
It's just, it's just so ridiculous. I just listened to that, and then obviously the recruiting side, which is, by the way, the Florida State folks, a lot of egg.
That was a hell of a parade.
Yeah, boy. I mean, they made the Mims kid feel like he was going to be God. You know what I mean? He must have had an orgy in the middle of the field in the stadium or something too. Because I mean, damn, dude. You ever see the movie Johnny Be Good with Anthony Michael Hall back in the day? That Mims must have felt like Anthony Michael Hall, and then after that told him, "Nah, I'm staying over here," and he goes back to Georgia. Wow, dude, that was a bad look for Florida State, bro.
Well, especially the way they were celebrating. I mean, they were just making fun of Miami and saying, "Oh, look, the kid's not even, going there. He's not going to go on." And Miami coaches, when I reached out and I asked, they said, "Listen, he said he's going to come down and visit us." That's where they had left it. They weren't doing any parades. They're just like, "Hey, we'll see if this kid wants to come here once he gets here." Right. Florida State fans were like, "Oh, this is it. This is going to put us over the top. We're going to start celebrating around here. We're going to throw parties." It's embarrassing. They look like the Timberwolves winning the play-in game. It really was just like, okay, you're excited because the kid took a visit,
right?
He has a sign on the dotted line.
It makes it look like what's it called? The dude that left Notre Dame, Chip Kelly, right? It's not Chip Kelly. It's Brian Kelly. Remember he did it with the recruit at LSU that they were spinning, and then the kid went. Where did he go? I forgot where he went after. But
he didn't go to LSU. That's for sure.
No, he didn't go to LSU. He went somewhere else. I forgot where he went. And it was just like, I think actually now it might have been Georgia. Actually, now I think it might have been Georgia again. But wow, man.
Listen, man.
All right, so out of all the guys that you saw on Saturday, give us besides the Minnesota kid, any other kids you think Miami has a real inside track?
Jonel Aguero, who was at Bradenton IMG Academy last year, he's a safety, went back home to Massachusetts this year to play his senior year. When we had I talked to all these kids maybe 5 or 10 minutes, before I didn't want to hold them up. They all wanted to leave and go wherever they were going to go. But the 5-10 minutes that I spent talking to him, he seemed really excited about his role in the defense. He just kept talking about, man, they really need me here. I need to be here. The things I could do in this secondary and this and that. And he's a top 100, kid in the country, a safety safety DB prospect that I think, you look at how James Williams and Cam Kitchens and those guys are.
You want a couple of freaks back there.
Yeah, you want to be able to replace those guys in a year or two because they're going to be gone. They're going into their second year. They'll be gone after year 3. So you need to start getting those guys, the Jonel Aguero kids, in tow to come over here. The other one was a big defensive tackle out of Kissimmee Osceola, Derek LeBlanc, who I spoke to at the Under Armour camp in March. That was here a couple months ago. Actually, may have been late February, but whatever. He's always been very high on Miami. I think Miami, Florida, and Oklahoma are his 3 finalists, and he just talked about how much Mario Cristobal, what an incredible recruiter he is, and how persistent he is. And he says things how, he doesn't want me, he needs me. And the way he makes those guys feel like they're needed in a way that they have to come to Miami because it's not going to work anywhere else. Right. And it's just to see Mario work his magic. It's like, it's amazing. You're like, these kids would come here before. Oh, okay. When Manny and other guys were in charge, and they always left, and you would see their faces kind of like, it's kind of like now they're leaving with smiles stuck to their faces and like this feeling of I have to be. It's just,
I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's an entire different mentality. And they still won 7-5 last year, right? Last I checked.
Yeah.
So how's he doing this? Like, how is he?
I think he's still doing it because the U has still carried its mystique, and it's just like Tennessee. No matter how down the Vols are, if you get the right person, you kind of feel you'll turn that program around, just like Texas, just like a lot of schools. And to UM's credit, they have turned themselves into what's considered a traditional power, but they're a traditional power that's down, like FSU, like Texas, like Tennessee, like Nebraska. But these are all dormant monsters. And so because of the history, I think that ghost is still there. And so it's almost like you can revive it at any time with the right people. And I think that's what's going on throughout the country in certain programs like that. And I think Miami is one of those programs, like USC and others, that have completely lost, their sauce, but they still have the mystique. And I think that's what it is, dude. I think they live off of that. And
I think
you can only live off of it for so long, but they've been riding it for nearly 20 years now. They've got to come back to doing
winning
something about it and reestablishing it.
Yeah, and I think the reality is just that it's so much more believable when your head coach has 2 national championship rings that he won as a player here and was a part of it and was and he has this staff that just, I mean, the hires that he made, there's no question. Every player I talk to talks about Jason Taylor and Ed Reed and Hall of Famers, and
best staff since Jimmy Johnson. This is the best staff.
Yeah, and all you hear the kids talk about is that. They say it over and over again. This is the best staff. I want to come play for guys that were that that accomplished what they accomplished. I could trust them. The players need to believe it, and that's the difference here. Okay.
Yeah. That Butch Davis, Wanstead, Norv Turner, that staff, that's the best staff we've ever had here at the University of Miami. This is the one that can challenge it now. This is the second. Well, they're clearly behind them, but that staff, what is it? What's the guy? It's a senator now with the T. What's his name? He was part of that. He was the Auburn.
Tommie Tuberville.
Tuberville was there. Ogeron was there. I mean, that staff was sick, dude, back in those days. You know what I mean? So Don Solinger, Kehoe, all those guys were there. That was one of the great staffs. That is the greatest staff of all time. That staff that Jimmy Johnson built. That was a nasty staff. So yeah, I believe that. All right, what are you working on? By the way, folks, don't forget Caneswear, 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and get on down there. You can also order online at caneswear.com. $99 and over, you will get free shipping. All right, so get all your Inter Miami, Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, Florida Panthers, Miami Marlins gear. You can get it there at Caneswear. Go to caneswear.com. What are you working on at the Athletic so folks can check you out, my man?
Well, news story posted this morning. Yesterday, I caught up with Mitchell Agude, who's the UCLA transfer. He was on the sideline Saturday with Jalen Phillips. They were watching the game together pretty much and talking for a long time. And so I was able to get Mitchell and Jalen. Jalen tells me this guy's going to be a stud here. He's not as big as Jalen was. Jalen's, 6'5", 6'6", 270. This kid is more along the lines of 6'4", 250. But 38 quarterback pressures last year, fifth most in the Pac-12 conference, and he wasn't even in a pass rushing type role. He was more there to stop the run. He was 54 tackles, four forced fumbles, but still twice as many quarterback pressures than anybody on UCLA's team last year. And so it was a big get for Mario Cristobal with having to constantly rotate those pass rushers in there, right? I mean, it's great when you can get the Gregory Rousseaus and the Jalen Phillips, but you need depth at that position. And the pass rush on Saturday wasn't that great from the first line guys. But Jafari Harvey didn't play in the spring game. You had Thomas Davis, who's a second-year freshman, a really small little guy who's just jet fast, uses his speed to get around guys. But Mitchell will come in. He'll start opposite Jafari Harvey. You'll have Chance Williams in the mix. Potentially, Miami's going to sign more pass rushers here. I know that they're going to be hosting a kid from Maryland who was at Maryland last year as a freshman, played all 13 games, started one game. He's 6'6", 270. So they're looking in the portal for more help at the pass rusher position. But this story on Mitchell is good. He almost died when he was 9 years old. Skateboarding accident where that concrete park out there in California. He's a California kid. Born to Nigerian parents, and just I wrote about his whole story and his relationship with Jalen Phillips and coming to Miami, his expectations, his NIL deal with John Ruiz. He's got a brand new Cadillac. He's living in a nice apartment here. He's well set up here to enjoy South Florida life. So there's a whole story on him. There's a new podcast on him. I'm going to have another podcast later this week.
The Wide Right Podcast.
The Wide Right Pod, exactly.
Subscribe, bitches.
That's right. So, and then the USF story should be coming out tomorrow, the Wayward Programs. We just had another one on Colorado. We all remember how good Colorado was back in the day, right? They've fallen off. So a lot of good stories to read. Stuart Mandel has something brand new on NIL. All these, multi-million-dollar deals these high school recruits are signing across the country. There's 9 states now, that high school kids can sign NIL deals before they even, before they even leave high school. So the number is growing nationwide, which means the paychecks are growing nationwide to get these kids to sign with elite programs. So plenty plenty of articles to read. And by the way, I got your information. Last week you gave me homework, and on Friday I forgot to mention to you the deadline for everyone to get in the transfer portal if you're in college already. Okay. Not if you sign over the summer as a high school recruit, but the deadline is May 1st. Okay. So you have to be in the portal by May 1st. Doesn't matter if you have a school yet, but you have to be in the portal by May 1st. So that's the deadline to watch as far as guys leaving, schools and becoming available. But that's going to happen a lot here over the next week. One other thing to know, I'm about 99.9% sure Caleb Johnson, the UCLA linebacker who visited Miami, is going to be committing to Miami probably Thursday or Friday. He's on a visit right now to Texas, but him and
I put him over the top, right? It was my recruiting, right?
It was your well. He wasn't in the car with us. He was.
Oh, it wasn't.
Oh. No. That's
he must have watched the segment. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. So I think I have a good feeling Caleb Johnson will end up committing to Miami, barring some stupendous change on his trip to Texas this week. So I think the Hurricanes are in a good position there. A lot of news, man. There'll be a lot to follow and watch in the weeks ahead as the transfer portal kids decide to leave, etc.
And you'll be breaking it as always, and we'll be talking about it here on the show, and you can catch him exclusively here twice a week doing his thing with their Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. Manny, as always, thank you for taking some time, my man. Appreciate you immensely. We'll catch up later in the week.
All right, brother. Take care.
You got it. There you go. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, by the way, at Manny_Navarro, and subscribe to The Athletic. It's like $1 a month right now. It's like a joke, man. What can I tell you? All right, let's take a break. Give me a couple minutes. Let me get some honey and lemon, a little water, and a little rest. Give me 2 minutes, and we'll get ready for hour number 3 right here. By the way, Franco Panizo is going to join us too. He's going to join us here to start off hour number 3 right here on the Big O Radio Show.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.